Welcome into the Beat Sessions, your place for all things music. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about Franz Ferdinand and this new record, The Human Fear. They released that on January 10th. This is the sixth studio album for the Scottish outfit and their follow-up to 2018's Always Ascending. Franz Ferdinand is always a band that is just satisfying enough these days. I'm glad that they're still around. I'm glad that they continue to make music, but I've never felt the wow factor the way that I felt with their self-titled debut. And maybe it's just one of those things where time and place. Think about the mid 2000s. Like, I know I was like right there in my early 20s, and it was a prime time for indie rock. So many bands, so many amazing records that dropped in that time period. And Franz Ferdinand's self-titled debut, one of the albums that is at the forefront of that movement. It's something that I will always hold them in high regard for. That they gave that scene a lot of visibility and gave themselves a lot of visibility with that record. It's an amazing project. And they've been consistent. They continue to put out good music. Every time they put out a record, it's worth a listen, in my opinion. But there's nothing in the last few efforts that's really grabbed me, like really has just like sunk its claws into me. And that's kind of the same tale here with The Human Fear. It's 11 songs, 35 minutes, pretty quick affair. You get all the way to the last track. The Birds is the one song on this record that I feel, if they'd gone at a record with, just an entire run of songs like The Birds, that's like, I think that's maybe what we're craving, what we're looking for. And I don't want to speak for everybody. I want maybe what I'm craving, but I just know that there's great sonic explorations. There's great hooks. There's a lot of fun, exciting music on this record. As I said, it is worth a listen, but I fail to see any type of artistic growth, unfortunately, with Alex Kapranos in this outfit. Working with Julian Corey, his keyboard player in the band, on a number of these songs as far as writing. They team up on a number of tracks in the first half of the record, and then it's mostly Alex on the back end. Working with Mark Ralph again as well. They worked with him on Right Thoughts, Right Words, Right Action. So some familiar players here, and some new ones too. It's their first album with Audrey Tate on drums. Paul Thompson left the band, and so you have this new dynamic, just a little bit different there. But longtime member Bob Hardy still on bass guitar. Love his work. Love what he does in this outfit, and just a band with a very signature sound. And I think that that's one of the things that makes them entertaining. It's what makes any new project of theirs worth checking out, seeing how they're playing with that edge, with that style that they have cultivated of theirs. And I do love the theme. The central core of this record is the human fear, the idea of overcoming fears. I think of Edmund Burke's theories on the beautiful and the sublime. And he argues that anything that is sublime is something that's going to cause fear, maybe even a little bit of pain, but it's the stuff in life that challenges us, that makes us test ourselves, that is ultimately, the things that help us discover our potential, overcoming those fears, knowing that we can do whatever we set out to do. It's really, I feel like that energy is captured in the opening track, Audacious. I love the way that song leads off the record. Sonically, it's not my favorite, but thematically, I think that it's the right way to begin this journey. It's a really fun exploration, like tiny vignettes of character studies. The Doctor, the third track, is a perfect example of a character that doesn't want to go back into the real world. He just wants to continue being taken care of in the facility. It's that funny quirkiness that's a part of Franz Ferdinand over the years, that kind of that silly edge that they bring to their style. It's interesting, the combination of that with the sleek image that they have as well. There's this clean cut just style that they have that is another one of those things that I've always found it to be captivating. I think that having a good visual aesthetic as a band is something that is it's one of the perks. It's one of the perks about being a rock and roll star, and I think these guys crush it in that regard. And so I dig the idea again of overcoming fears, whether it's starting a new job or whether it's approaching a woman you like or whether it's breaking up with someone and knowing or not knowing what the next chapter holds, like what the future looks like without this person that you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with. There's all these different factors, all these different things that are at the core of this record. And so I dig the guys and their exploration for that. Again, lots of solid hooks, fun music. This is a record that has great energy, and for the most part there's a lot of stuff on here that's working. Moments where I feel they'd made slight differences in compositions, but we'll get into that here with this track list here. Audacious, your first track. Again, if you're, what's the point of being a rock star if you're not going to be audacious? Bob says that. I love that. And he's right. Put all your energy, like your entire heart, 100%, 110% into it if you're going to be up there on stage in front of people performing. So I love the jaunty bass, the oddly tuned guitar. It sounds like a kazoo. This song really, it sounds like a Strokes track, which is one of the reasons that I like it, but I wasn't impressed by it. I feel like this is musical territory that even with some of the particular nuances, maybe some of the instrumental stuff that might seem different, there's something about the way this track comes together that just feels quintessentially like the Strokes. And for me, musically, it wasn't my favorite. Love the theme, wasn't super hooked into the music. The pre-chorus, I do like the kind of ska effect that works in here. There's a fun back and forth with the music that if I'm going to highlight a positive of this track, that definitely would be it. But it's going to lead into Everyday Dreamer, which is another track that not super crazy. This album, I'd argue, kind of has a rough start. You get this thick, funky bass on the song, driving percussion out the gate with this vocal. It's got this kind of like light, airy texture to it. But the song is going to take on this kind of like glam disco feel. It's dark, moody, this light soaring vocal that continues to work in, and lots of harmony that backs up. That's one of the things that brings in big texture on the song. There's a sense of minimalism in this track, but it's another one for me that it doesn't quite hit, and it's unfortunate. We do get The Doctor, your third track, though, and this is a wild track. It's synth punk. I love the feel, the energy immediately as the song starts. The verse drops to just rhythm and vocal. I love the focus on the bass and the drums with the vocal element there. And then there's this lead guitar, and it just starts to just like wander all over the place. It is wild. The different components of the guitar element, the different pieces that come together in this song. And I think it's super fun. It's definitely a highlight and something that, I'm really glad that this track was at this point in the mix of songs, because I admittedly was kind of maybe losing it a little bit with those first two. But I love the playback and forth with the synth between the guitar and the synth elements in that song. It really is a fun track. Hooked, your fourth song, thick electro pop beat. You get these effects that build texture as well. Fuzzy bass hits with the vocal. You get this electronic percussion that has a feeling of just like full on gothic pop. Depeche Mode is what comes to mind. Not quite as solid as Depeche Mode, but the song is pretty decent. I enjoyed it for the most part. I think that's the one thing about this album that I didn't mention it, but I mean, coming off of Always Ascending, there were elements of disco and funk, but I still feel like that album's really grounded more in the traditional Franz Ferdinand rock and roll sound, that kind of fuzzy garage rock, sort of rawness that's there in the production. This record production feels really clean, and it feels very electronic and dance oriented. Rock and roll certainly feels like it's taking a back seat. There's guitars and there's moments where they're definitely rocking out, but it feels secondary in this list of tracks. Your fifth song, Build It Up. I dig the twangy guitars. Here's a little bit of some rock and roll flair here. I like the way that they play off one another. The vocal that enters in there, and then hand claps for a few bars to build the rhythm, and then drums hit. Hooks with is going to hit with a mix of ska, and I really like the way that this song, the instrumentation takes this heavy folk rock turn for a moment at the end of the song, and I wish it had kind of carried off of that. The majority of this track, I'd say the first 2/3 of it, leading right into the coda, Russian folk. Like, think of like folk elements from Eastern and Central Europe as well, really creating the foundation of this song's sound. And so it's really unique, and I liked that heavy turn, and I wish they kind of just stuck it out with that. I think this song had more potential maybe with that change in mind, but it is what it is. Night or Day is your sixth song. I really like this track a lot, actually. It's another one that I think could have maybe stood to have a little more of the hook, that flair, just because it's so catchy. I dig the hook on the song. It starts off a little slow, in my opinion, rolling drums. You get this bouncy bass, kind of this psychedelic popping riff that opens this thing up. Bright, bouncy piano. It twinkles for a few bars and then subsides, and get a little light guitar. The chorus is just funky rock and roll. It's pure fire. It gets sci-fi synths in the bridge that blend this all together. It's a highlight for me indeed. Cats is your eighth song. This is Tell Me I Should Stay is your seventh song. Getting ahead of myself there, and that's two. I'm glad I didn't skip that, because this song is another highlight for me as well. I really like the classic piano that opens up Tell Me I Should Stay, excuse me. You get this quirky transition with this ominous flair. This funky bass walks in. You get this soft electronic beat, combines surf rock, gothic elements. This track sounds like The Doors, and then it transitions to the Beach Boys. It is just really fun. And this is one of those songs that, while I like the energy and I like the musical exploration and the inspiration, you are getting this sense of something that has been done before. And that's where I feel that maybe this song and a lot of songs on the record kind of suffer a little bit, unfortunately, but it is super fun to listen to. Tell Me I Should Stay, your seventh track, leads into your eighth song, Cats. Loose, kind of like stoner rock guitar and vocal to open. You get this funky rhythm that hits to steer the song in a fun direction. I really like the shift that it does take. This spaghetti western influence that's hitting the riff a little bit. It's got this fun flair to it. But another song that, like, while I enjoyed what it was trying to do, it didn't quite get to where I was hoping it would get, unfortunately. Black Eyelashes is your ninth track. Getting into that Eastern kind of traditional, Eastern European traditional music, gets this like psychedelic Greek feel from Greek traditional music in the intro. Ushers in this rock and roll feel, though. I like the dynamic that's there. Got a bounce in the bass, loose percussion to enhance the just the jaunty feel of this song. It's got this just this like fun psychedelic bounce. A bit of a noir feel as well. I did enjoy the energy that this track creates. Bar Lonely is your 10th song. Your penultimate track is up-tempo. It's got this alternative country rock feel to it. Pop-driven harmonies. Verse rides this rhythm and vocal. Little Cheers homage in the song as well that I think is kind of fun. Chorus is going to have more of a garage rock feel, but a song that lyrically, given the nature of what we're talking about here, the central theme of the human fear, I feel as a penultimate track, the energy lyrically of this one falls a little short for me. It's unfortunate to see the protagonist of this particular song and the way that they're kind of wallowing, I would say, unfortunately. But then it leads into The Birds, and this song is amazing. I know that I talked about Night or Day, Tell Me I Should Stay as highlights. But this is definitely my favorite song. Heavy jangle pop feel. I mean, totally taking inspiration from the Byrds, that 60s jangle pop feel. The chorus is minimal, got these jaunty guitars, working on just all these fun high notes that really just take off. I love the way that they explode off of this record. It goes just full Velvet Underground. It's so psychedelic. It's so much fun, and I really feel like this last track holds the potential of what Franz Ferdinand could be on a record from start to finish. I would love to see them be more adventurous. I am very satisfied with this record. As I said, I think given the runtime, given the quality of what's here overall, this is in the new rating system. I'm gonna put this between satisfactory and solid. I'm gonna give this a 6.7 out of 10. I would say give it a go. I don't think I'm gonna vinyl please it though. I think I'm gonna pass on the wax at the moment. But I mean, who knows? If somebody gifts me a copy, I'm not gonna say no to it. I'm definitely gonna throw it in the shelf. But I hope you enjoy this record if you throw it on. I hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2025. Tune into Classic Wax on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and tune into the Daily Deep Cut Monday through Friday. That's at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.